Welcome to Go Open. That's right. That's how clever I feel in a program dedicated entirely to open source technology. What is it? Well, it's like a big mystery which we'll explain as we go. But it's going to rock your world, we believe. And in the course, we're going to meet some very clever people from all over the world, some inspirational South Africans, and don't forget our competition coming up later, where if you really pay attention, you can win things, and if you don't, you won't because you're stupid. You write things down. We'll ask you questions. You answer them for us. You can win an LG monitor flat screen, which is like a lizard, but it's flat, and it licks you, and you can see crystal clear, which is very good. You can win a DVD drive, which is not when you're driving and then you can DVD. It's actually a thing in your computer that can play the little CDs with wood pictures on. And we're giving away some Soviet jeans vouchers worth R1,000 per voucher each as well. And Hewlett-Packard, in their wisdom, have given us digital cameras and printers, so you can finally go to the office party with enormous pride and catch the secretary doing things that she shouldn't, and then print the pictures and put them in a magazine and make money.
Open source software exists as a result of the combined efforts of millions of computer programmers, users, and software vendors from around the world. They share their intellectual property freely, and they believe that software should cost nothing and should enrich the lives of users. Open source software is the alternative and biggest challenger to closed source or proprietary software. It generally costs the user nothing. It can be distributed freely to anyone. Download it, use it, modify it, and give it away. It's a whole new world. Open source is the future of computing.
My plasma. Right, let's kick off with something fascinating and mysterious. It's called blogging. Yeah, no, it's not dark and smelly. It's fresh and new. It's fantastic. And it's on the internet, and it's got journalists in a furore.
Most people who get news are used to getting it through newspapers or radio broadcasts. Now, behind the scenes, a team of journalists with international syndication links prepare the stories, and those stories go through a process of editing and vetting before they land up on the printed page. But a relatively new phenomenon has introduced an element of anarchy and self-expression into the world of journalism. It's called blogging, and its proponents say it's changing the way we get our news.
It's like journalism for the people, because we can write whatever we want. We've got a voice now. The blogging gives people like myself who don't necessarily want to write long-winded, drawn-out articles about things that I enjoy. It's my opinion, and whoever's free, you can read it if you want to.
This is the headquarters of Missing Link, a multimedia creation company in Johannesburg. They also run JoBlog, which is a South Africa-orientated blog. The word blog is short for weblog, and it can be about anything, from an online diary to a recipe club to a political campaign. A blog is, to the world of online publishing, what open source is to software.
You can feel what we're feeling by the way we write. Like sometimes it'll be really, really light-hearted about a story if it's funny, or if it's really serious, then we'll put the bare facts and say, if someone killed somebody else, to say, I hope these guys rot in hell. The cool thing about blogs is that people can respond to that as well in the comments, whereas with newspapers, you can't give any feedback.
One of the things with an online publication is you can also create a sense of community and a sense of interactivity. So you can allow your readers to comment on stories, you can allow your readers to participate in stories.
Matthew Buckland, online editor for the Mail and Guardian Online, has been watching the blogging phenomenon grow in recent years.
Where does one draw the line between journalism and blogging?
A blog doesn't pass through an editor like a piece of journalism. While blogs are revolutionizing online publishing, they are not necessarily journalism.
But there have been instances where bloggers have crossed the line into journalism and in fact excelled at it. Salam Pax, aka the Baghdad blogger, provided an unprecedented, live and detailed account of life inside the Iraqi war. The Guardian described it as the most gripping account of the conflict and eventually gave him a fortnightly column in the newspaper.
There is a certain amount of responsibility that has to be taken into it as well, though, because one of the reasons people have blogs is because they enjoy people coming and reading their thoughts, and everyone gets together. If you bugger that up by posting absolute garbage, lying about stuff, really just creating your own facts, and what's going to happen is people are going to see straight through that, because it's a very transparent form of communication. They'll see straight through it, and there's no reason for them to visit anymore.
Just remember, in a publishing environment, the aim is to have information information that is false and not credible. That'll never see the light of day. That's the aim, Whereas kind of with blogging, that kind of happens after the fact, and for me, that's not good enough.
One of the biggest things about blogging is the ability and the need to link to articles and things like that. Generally, we get a lot of our links from your legit media, your News 24s and your Google Newses and things like that, and in the paper and whatever. And we always find articles on what we're writing to link to, so people can go and fact check themselves.
It may be little more than opinion, but then there's nothing stopping anyone from writing the most trivial trash, and it seems some go out of their way to be boring.
There is actually one called The Dullest Blog in the World. The guy writes, I went into my room today, it was dark, so I put on the light switch. That's it, that's his post for the day, and the guy gets like 400 comments per post.
But with so many news sites and blogs out there, who has the time to sift through the garbage? It's a case of a small piece of software, and you can be your own editor.
The way we get our news is changing. Using a technology called RSS, you only need to get the news you want. It stands for Really Simple Syndication, and you can customize your own online news and blogs. Morning newspaper? Hell no. I got it all this morning.
An RSS feed can be a standalone program or a plugin for your browser. It automatically updates news sites and blogs that you subscribe to without you having to log into them. If something of interest catches your eye, you can quickly read the article.
What's the next blog going to be about?
Are you kidding? This?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been, while you guys have been shooting us, we've been shooting you, and we're gonna pop on the internet about 5 minutes after you walk out the door.
Yeah.
And we'll comment about our thoughts and feelings and how you guys were so nice.
Well, isn't the internet so easy to use? And what a wonderful research tool for children who are working on launching a shuttle at small break. Unless their school can't connect to the internet, that's not so happy. And maybe even with a phone line they can't connect. So who do they call? Well, luckily, they can call the Internet Delivery Man. Check it out.
Andre Rabagliati is a mailman with a difference. He delivers the internet to underprivileged schools using the lowest of low tech.
I had the idea a long time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, when I was in India. I was looking at the expense of digital access. In places like South Africa that have expensive internet access with a telephone and per minute charges and things like that, it becomes almost out of reach for rural areas. And what this does is this replaces the telephone line. This is 256 megabytes. This will easily carry all the email you could possibly read in a week and all the web pages you could possibly watch in a week.
Schools of all types cooperate by sharing resources. Those with internet connections have server computers installed for the non-connected clients.
A well-resourced school like Grooteskier that we're at right now can become a launching platform for other schools that are less well-connected.
All it requires is someone to remove the memory stick, transport it to the host school, and plug it in at that end. The software automatically uploads and downloads all the email and web page requests.
It requires them to put a little bit of effort in to do the work, to carry it back and forth, but it's a high bandwidth, high latency connection.
Hot dates. In Johannesburg, Gauteng Linux Users Group meets on Friday, the 3rd of December. And in Cape Town, 2 free half-day workshops, basic website building and GIMP techniques on the 8th of December.
Stay with us because we're going to talk to Don Marty in a minute. He's going to share some thoughts, controversial thoughts, mad thoughts about Linux journalism. And please pay attention because when we finish with that, we're going to ask questions about it and we're going to give you prizes. Now, let's get really heavy. I'm talking about the combined weight of 130 of these. This is the world's longest running Linux magazine, and the man we're about to meet is the editor, and his name is Don Marty, and he's fantastic, and oh, there goes my network cluster.
Linux is an operating system, like Windows or the Mac operating systems. It was designed to work like Unix, but on a PC. Unlike Windows or Mac, Linux is open source, and there is a wide variety of distributions to choose from, most of them free of charge. Linux Journal has been serving the open source community for many years, and Editor-in-Chief Don Marty spoke to us about the difference between open source and proprietary software.
If you go to most of the free software sites, you can click down a couple levels and find the GPL. You can find the X license, the Apache license, whichever terms and conditions you have to accept in order to use that software. Now, when a proprietary software company buries their license so you can't even read it until after you have paid for the product, then they're asking you to turn off part of your brain. They're asking you to turn off part of your ability to work with other people and to do business when you use their software.
Most people also say that there's no way you can make money with regards to open source.
There's no way to make money with the English language. I come up with new words, phrases, analogies, all kinds of fun stuff in the English language, and people paraphrase what I had to say and make money talking about some of the same things that I did. If I tried to lock down what I talk about and what I write about the same way as a proprietary software company does, then the whole industry of speaking, writing, media would be overly litigious, and transaction costs would be prohibitive.
How do you now adapt your magazine for users entering the Linux market?
If you want to get started from Linux, starting from no Linux experience at all, you're best off buying a good book or buying a good box set distribution, or both. If someone comes to Linux with the point of view of make this exactly as easy to use and work exactly the same way as my existing proprietary OS, or I'm out of here, then that person is not worth spending as much time on as on somebody who says, I want to make this project work for me.
The future of Linux, how do you see it in the next 2 to 3 years?
All the small-time OSs are going to have their market share taken away by Linux, and it's going to be down to Linux and Microsoft on the server side.
Open source empowers. That's a slogan you're going to be hearing a lot of in the future. For example, if someone's blind, doesn't mean they can't be part of the world of IT. Nothing could be further from the truth. Look, here's the truth, and here's the thing. Look how far they are away from each other.
Brett Stradom lost his sight at the age of 6, but he excelled at school and became fascinated with computers. For years, he nagged his parents to buy him his own computer.
I think I was in standard 6 or 7 when the nagging finally paid off and everybody delved into their annual bonuses and contributed towards getting me a PC. It was a little IBM 286 at the time. I started doing computer studies. I so badly wanted a PC, I didn't mind it not being adapted. I organized things on it so that I could use it. It wasn't as fancy as today where we have them talking back to us and read in Braille what's going on. It is at least a start of being able to express my ideas and my creativity.
Brett works as a systems engineer at one of the country's largest insurance companies. He uses open source tools to create programs that, simply put, allow the company's different programs to interact with each other.
Now, Brett, your first computer wasn't nearly as sophisticated as the computers we have nowadays. Could you tell us more about the Braille TTY system that you're using?
It's a little device that shows a certain section of the screen in Braille. You have scrolling buttons on this device which allow you to move to the section of the screen that you currently can't see.
What was it like for you when you first discovered Linux and open source?
One of my maths tutors, Stuart Gebby, asked me if I ever heard about Linux and if I was willing to try it. So I took my laptop at the time and split it that I could use both Windows and Linux, and I think it was within about 2 weeks I stopped using Windows completely and just focused on Linux. And what has really been great is just the amount that I've been able to learn. I've learned much more about Microsoft through open source than what I did from Microsoft products themselves.
Brett's company needed a web interface for a core piece of software. The supplier quoted over R1 million, which they were not prepared to pay. So Brett created a custom intranet interface, which was a major productivity boost.
Using open source and the documents that are available, that gave me the insight as to what I can do and how I can go about achieving this.
Brett says his aim is to fit in with society, not to make society fit in with him.
I try to lead a life that integrates me well into society, and that's how I'd like to use technology, is to help me cope with the world as it is, rather than trying to get the world to just accommodate me.
In the future, people like Brett will have a few more choices open to them, and that's thanks to advances in speech recognition. It's software that allows you to input data and control your computer simply using voice commands. File, save. Now that's good news if you're a software developer who wants to create speech-enabled applications, because now there is an open source toolkit that's available. IBM has released a whole set of its software to the open source community in an attempt to establish an open standard in speech recognition.
Stop, exit, tea break. Let's take a brief tea break while Mark Shuttleworth shows us some of the more difficult things involved in exercising, such as the nostril stretch.
If you think I'm doing my exercises today, I am. It's because my computer has just told me to take a break. The software we're doing it with today is called WorkRave, and it's designed for those of you who spend many long hours working constantly at the computer. WorkRave will keep track of how long you've been working, and at appropriate times will recommend that you take a break, and even tell you what kinds of exercises that you can do will reduce the risk of repetitive stress injury to your fingers, to your wrists, and to your knuckles.
Download the program free from www.workrave.com, and you'll find it's easy to configure. Tell it when you'd like your break and how long you want to break for. You get micro pauses and rest breaks. It'll even give you exercises designed to prevent repetitive stress injury.
Okay, so remember, if you keep fit, you can spend even longer behind the keyboard. And take care of your fingers. That's what responsible computing is all about.
You can run, Mark, but you cannot hide. We will find you, even in the space station, in zero gravity. Who's your server? Who's your server? And remember the website, www.goopensource.org. That's the place to go if you want to find out more about WorkRave, if you need that sort of thing at work, or any other items in our fantastic programming. My guest this week, the editor of Tectonic. Meet Alistair Otter. Hello, Alistair.
Hi, John.
What is Tectonic? Tell us.
Tectonic's an online publication focusing on open source software in Africa and South Africa. It's been around about 4 years now. It's the largest and probably the first of its kind on the continent. Purely online, we cover all sorts of open source software news, Linux, everything for the technical market as well as the beginner users.
Africa must be quite an interesting place for open source.
In many ways, that's the reason I started this. I fell into open source about 5 years ago, partly by accident. I was working as a journalist, and as a technology journalist, and I came across this open source thing and I decided I had to try it because everyone started to write about it. And it became immediately apparent to me and to a lot of other people that open source software is infinitely appropriate for the African continent.
Alistair, let's talk a bit about the fact that publishing online obviously has changed the way that people publish. In the past, you'd have to go through mainstream media, you'd have to be passed by all sorts of politics editors, and now you just publish whatever you like.
I think what we've seen over the last couple of years is a number of publishing tools which are every bit as good as many other professional publishing systems, and they're freely available on the internet. People can take the bits and pieces that they like, put them together, and publish a website which publicizes their interest, their information online. And I think it's something that's very exciting. It comes back to the blogging aspect, where an individual can decide they want to publish. And it's thanks to things like open source software that there are such powerful blogging tools available to people at little or no cost.
Ken, with the freedom that you enjoy to be able to publish as a journalist, obviously now everyone has that. So I mean, things like hate speech and, and propaganda, and I mean, that's also, the world is open to all that sort of stuff. So how do we balance that? People
need to be critical consumers of media. We can't regulate the internet to that degree where we can stop somebody publishing online. It's a fundamental principle of the internet that kind of material, unfortunately, can be put out there.
Thank you for joining us. Best of luck in the future. And may Tectonic grow to become a massive force of nature.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. Feeling lucky, punk? Huh? Are you? Are you ready to win? Get yourself a pen. You better get some paper and write down these web addresses now.
With a wealth of things on the web, you might not know where to bounce your browser next. Hop along to boingboing.net, a directory of wonderful things. Apart from mainstream news with a slant, you'll also find some truly bizarre nuggets. This is a picture of a murder scene, recreated in a doll's house with the aim of teaching homicide detectives how to solve a case. If Boing Boing isn't enough for your news needs, then perhaps you need a whole bouquet of news feeds on your desktop. www.bloglines.com is the most comprehensive, integrated service for searching, subscribing, publishing, and sharing news feeds, blogs, and rich web content. And true to its word, bloglines.com is free and easy to use. Once you've signed up for free, the directory is the place to find the feeds you're most interested in. With various searching alternatives, we've chosen the most popular feeds. Looks like Boing Boing is pretty popular. Disappointed that your own words aren't appearing in your Bloglines newsfeed? Head for www.blogger.com and start your very own blog. A blog is an easy-to-use website where you can quickly post your thoughts. Click on the Create Your Own Blog button and follow the easy steps. You'll soon have your very own publishing empire when you're done. Whether it's boingboing.net, just one news source on the web, or a whole host of news feeds at www.bloglines.com, where you get a whole variety of blogs streaming live on your computer, you still have the choice to make your own blog at www.blogger.com. You might even want to blog about this show.
You can even blog about me if you're not. Can you back off? I can breathe. I'm alive. It's time for the competition. This week you can win some fantastic things from LG. Something 17 inches long that men really like. It's a flat screen with an on button. Very nice. Some DVD drives to put in your computer. Or from HP, the lovely Scandal Bundle, which is a digital camera as well as a printer. Very exciting. All you have to do is answer this simple question. Oh, you can win some Soviet jeans as well, or vouchers to buy jeans. Or just keep the vouchers if you don't like jeans. What magazine does Don Marty edit? Is it Farmers Weekly, Linux Journal, or Soldier of Fortune? Please SMS your answer to the number on your screen. I believe that's 34357. And remember, it's £2 an SMS. And the winners of last week's competition are...
Lisa Brown wins an LG 17-inch flat-screen monitor. Richard Kuntz and J.J.R. van der Merwe win LG DVD writers. Valmay Fisher and Dan Deploy win R1,000 vouchers from Soviet jeans. Well done.
Next week, we really go in depth about succeeding beyond all your own wildest dreams. Yes, even that one with the thing and the dolphin. We're forcing South Africa's very own Mark Shuttleworth to tell us how he made billions of rand using open source software. So it's going to be very exciting as we put him over the rack and switch on the flames with the hot wax. To find out more, you really should go to our website, and it'll tell you everything about the program that you've ever desired to know. Anything related to our program is on that website. That's it from Go Open. Until next week, stay fit, stay open, and stay free. Good night. Sayonara. Ciao.